Okay, so it's St. Patty's Day, and I'm half Irish, well, part Irish. Everyone's Irish on St. Patrick's Day. I always tell my father, I'm Italian on Christmas, Irish on St. Patrick's Day. Why not? Anyway, today is my cousin Michael's birthday, and he's in town from Seattle, so it's kind of a big deal in our family. So, I'm going to be making Irish bomb cupcakes. This is a recipe that I got from a recipe book that I got at Urban Outfitters a million years ago, called Intoxicated Cupcakes. So I cannot take credit for this recipe. I've never made it. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, cross your fingers, it'll go well. I have Howard's Whiskey, Bailey's Irish Cream, and Guinness. Doesn't get more Irish than that. So, find some foggy molly, put on your greenish shirt, and take a big swig of Irish whiskey. Let's get started.
The first ingredient we need is 1 cup of Guinness. Now the cupcakes won't scream, hey, there's Guinness in here, but it really does add a nice special flavor to it. Makes it nice and bold. Next, you'll need 2 sticks or 8 ounces of salted butter, 2/3 cup of your favorite unsweetened cocoa powder, 2 cups flour, and 2 cups granulated sugar, 1 teaspoon salt, and 1 1/2 teaspoon baking soda. Next, you'll need 2 large eggs. I held up 1 finger because that's for 12, but we're making 24, so we need 2. And 2/3 cups sour cream. First, over medium heat, heat a medium-sized saucepan, and in it, place your Guinness and your butter. I find that it's better to chop the butter up into bits, that way it melts more evenly and you're not left with chunks. Stir in your cocoa powder, and then stir until smooth. Your whole house will smell like a chocolate-covered brewery. Alright. Next, in a fairly decent-sized bowl, sift together the flour, sugar, baking soda, and salt. Now this is where you really get to get your aggression out. If you ever wanted to smack somebody, just go ahead and smack the hell out of the sifter. At least that's what I do. And speaking of wanting to smack somebody, this is where my camera kept dying. I do apologize, but let's pretend that we blended the eggs and the sour cream in this very bowl right here. Then with an electric mixer, just continue to blend on medium speed and add the cooled Guinness mixture. And let the beatings continue until the mixture is smooth. Next, using a hand mixer on low speed, slowly, a little bit at a time, add your dry mixture to your wet Guinness mixture. You should really do this a little bit at a time and really make sure you're on a nice, low, controlled speed. Otherwise, there's going to be flour everywhere. Ask me how I know. Then, using some particularly fancy cupcake liners, which are totally optional but I find adorable, line your cupcake tray. Now, because this is a dark cupcake, the design on the cupcake wrappers will be lost unless you add a second liner, which is what I do. This is going to be really frustrating and it's hard to get them to stay down. Don't worry, once the batter's in, they will stay down, so don't think that you have to play whack-a-mole just to get them to stay. But believe me, it's worth it to have that really pretty wrapper. We're making 2 dozen, so line another cupcake pan with liners. Then divide the batter evenly amongst all the liners. The easiest way to do this is with an ice cream scoop, so if you plan on making cupcakes frequently, it's good to invest in a good ice cream scoop. It really does the job quite nicely, especially if it's the kind that scoops it out itself, like mine. Then stick those bad boys in a 350-degree oven for 16 to 20 minutes. I find that 18 minutes does the trick, but you can always stab them with a toothpick and see if it comes out clean. For the whiskey ganache filling, you will need 8 ounces of dark chocolate. Not baker's chocolate, dark chocolate. And Hershey's Special Dark happens to be my favorite. 2/3 cup heavy whipping cream, 2 tablespoons unsalted butter, and it wouldn't be whiskey ganache without some Irish whiskey. I'm using Jameson, but you can use any whiskey you like. And if you're going to give it a cheeky taste, for goodness sake, make sure no one's looking as you drink it out of the bottle. Or you could use a glass, like a proper human being. I happen to like my round ice cube molds in a mercury glass. Now on to our whiskey ganache. Break your chocolate into a heat-proof bowl. I'm using a glass one. Another reason why I like using Hershey's, it's already pre-marked and already kind of pre-broken. So if you just break it along all the places where, the little Hershey squares are, then it'll break up perfectly to melt into the ganache. Ooh, chocolate hands! Now heat the heavy whipping cream in a saucepan on low heat, stirring constantly until it begins to simmer. Pour your hot cream over the chocolate and stir until the chocolate is melted. Next, add in your room temperature butter and stir until the chocolate glistens. The butter in ganache is what gives it that really bright, shiny, silky glow. And now it's time to release the secret weapon, your Irish whiskey. You'll need 8 teaspoons of this, and even though when you're baking it's really good to be accurate, I kind of have a heavy-handed pour when I pour alcohol, so you can just subtract or add depending on how heavy those teaspoons are. Then go ahead and combine that in very thoroughly. Once your whiskey and your butter and your cream and your chocolate are well incorporated, it should be really rich and silky looking, just like this. Set it aside and let it cool, but be sure and not to forget anything. For the frosting, you'll need 8 tablespoons of salted butter, 1½ teaspoon vanilla extract, pure as the Virgin Mary, not imitation, you culinary savage, a dash of salt, 4 cups sifted confectioner's sugar, and last but not least, some smooth, sweet, and creamy Bailey's Irish Cream. This is going to be the star of our frosting, and it's always good to have around. Begin by creaming your room temperature butter in a bowl. Notice I said room temperature butter. Mine was not, and I didn't have a lot of time, so I had to melt it in the microwave a little bit, and it got a little too melted, and that's why my frosting didn't come out quite as stiff and fluffy as I would have liked. I did not think ahead, so don't do what I did. Just, have it sitting out. Take it out that morning and let it get nice and soft. Next, add your salt and your pure vanilla extract. Now whip it, and whip it good. Add your powdered sugar and blend in your Baileys. Alright, here's where I'm going to get all Martha Stewart on you. Take a melon baller and hollow out the middle of the cupcake. You don't want to go all the way down, just enough to fill it with your ganache filling. And then take a smaller ice cream scoop up that cooled ganache filling, and serve it up inside the cupcake until it gets all the way to the top. Now, if you don't have a melon baller, you can use a knife to hollow out the middle of the cupcake. Just make sure you don't go all the way down. And if you don't have a smaller ice cream scoop to spoon it in there, you can always just use a spoon. As long as the ganache gets into the middle of the cupcake and some of the middle of the cupcake comes out, it's all gravy, baby. Now it's time to frost your cupcakes. I'm just using a butter knife to spread some of the icing on top. Make sure you get enough on there so that you don't actually carry any of the cake or the ganache away with the frosting. You want it to be nice and smooth and one color. So then I just spread it on top, and if you want to, you can just leave it at that. Or if you want to make it look like the picture, or in my case, try, you can take the knife and just kind of pop it up off the top to make it look like a little explosion. These are Irish car bomb cupcakes after all.